Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance at 6:30. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Present.
Present. Mayor Gardner.
Present. All right, welcome. We have one trustee attending remotely via Zoom. We have trustee Pierce online. Again, welcome. Welcome to the board meeting tonight, this beautiful spring night in Antioch. So we have a couple announcements first. First is we have a couple acknowledgements or different dates that happened this month. One is Child Abuse Prevention Month. It is also Autism Awareness Month. We do have several religious holidays this month, including Passover, which starts this weekend, and then Good Friday and Easter before our next meeting. So look forward to those holidays. We also have National Library Week, and we have a proclamation that I'm going to read. I see our Jennifer, our director here, and so we're going to present this to her. So I will read this for you quickly. Yeah, come on. Yeah, bring them up. Show your faces. All right. Jennifer, do you want to introduce your board so people know you're up here?
Sure. So I'm Jennifer Drinka. I'm the executive director of the library. Susan Moore and Tony Leffridge serve on our library board. And Kim Morocco is here with me. She's worked at the library for many years, since a teenager. So Kim and I and Sarah in the back over there is our head of marketing communications. We represent our staff and then our board.
Thank you. All right, so the proclamation reads, whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities, whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning, whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas library partners partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEM programs, and literacy initiatives fostering curiosity and love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and free expression. Whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity for all. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Drawn to the Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Scott Gardner, Mayor of the Village of Antioch, proclaim April 6th through 12th, 2025 as National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit the library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways the library draws us together as a community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the Village of Antioch to be affixed this 9th day of April, 2025. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Any special programs you know about?
Today is Library Day, but this is National Library Week. We have so many different activities going on. I love seeing so many familiar faces here. If you think the library is not for you, you're wrong. We check out everything from metal detectors to movie projectors to hotspots to books. And we really believe strongly that community matters. We know so many of you, and we just love to see you come into our doors. Thank you so much for our partnership with the village. We really appreciate you. And we have some goodies that we're going to just pass around to some people.
Here, you have to take this. Before we move on to the next group, I want to just announce that Friday we will be announcing our concert series on the radio, 97.1 FM The Drive. sometime in the morning, I think between 7 and 9, Jim? I think?
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
sometime between 7 and 9. So if you listen to that station, you'll find out our concert series, and then we're gonna post the bands online that day. Do we have any cheerleaders here? All right, so if I butcher this or any names or any of these, please correct me because I'm reading off a list because there's a lot of awards to your credit. So the first one I have on here is the 2024 JV Black. Are they here? All right, come in here. You can't hide in the hallway. Who's been here before this? Any of you girls been here before this? Okay, yeah. All right. All right. So this is the all seventh graders. Okay. Head coach Amber Rank. Amber. Okay. We have assistant coaches Heidi Helmkamp. Heidi, you here? And we also have Stephanie Paducci. Thank you for coming in here. So these are what was the award that you guys won for the second place at the state championship? Okay. All right. And so do you guys have the time to do one of your quick routines or cheers? That's short and sweet. I know this always embarrasses you. Embarrass you guys a little bit. Oh, do that at the end with everybody. Okay. We also have other state champions. Well, is this still the same group? They were the 2022 state champions for 5th grade. Okay. These are repeat, this is like a dream team here. 2023 state runners up 6th grade small division, 2024 state runners up 7th grade small division. And next year is the final season, the 8th grade varsity. So they're looking to reclaim their title. And I think we're waiting for that as well.
Yeah.
Is this? Okay, all right, different team, another 8th grade. Okay, so again, congratulations. Is this the time to do that or wait for the rest of the group to come up? Right for the rest of the group. Okay. All right, we have more cheerleaders here. Is there a 2024 featherweight team? Are you here? All right. All right, so here is the featherweight team. And Adelia Harder is the head coach. All right, thank you for coming tonight. I think I know somebody that's in your family. Okay, yeah. Right, we have assistant coaches Chelsea Yassinger. Chelsea, yep. And then we also have Brittany Church. Brittany here, yeah, there she is. This is this group was the featherweight team in 2023. They're the ICA state champions for the 4th grade small division. This year, they're the 2024 ICA second place champions 5th grade small division. There are 18 cheerleaders on this team, and they're heading into the 2025 season as 6th graders with a team of 19 athletes. And then there's a third group. Is that my add-on group here? Okay, where's the third group? Is the Vikings 8th graders? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Are you here? Come on, girls. All right, let's see. So we have the coaching staff for this group is Christina Barrera and has coached the team since kindergarten for all 9 years. Where's Christina? There you are. I hope you guys got your assistant coaches Nicole Skotnicki. Sorry, some of the printing's bad, so I screwed up. Yep, is she here? Okay. Courtney Sion. Is Courtney here? And then Jenny Hammond. And then we have team coaches Sienna Diedrich, Kristen Hammond, Bella Holmes, and Maddie Mortensen. And then we have team mom, and the printing's bad. It's Lindsay. I believe it says Hollingsworth, but it cut off. Okay, Lindsay. All right. So thank you. And I hope you guys seem to make this an annual event. So congratulations and keep up the good work. And let's see the competition. They competed in 4 competitions, placing first at 3. And they competed against 7 teams at the state final champion, 7 teams at the state finals, placing 3rd with a high score of 91.8. So let's give them a round of applause. To do your little cheer. All right. You gotta be shy. All right. You call it out.
Hey, hey, go big hey. Yes. Hey, hey. You have a hey. Hey, go big hey. Hey. I think they want to hear you louder. Big A.
Thank you for coming in. All right, I'll see the freshmen in high school next year, and then the rest of you will be back with the Vikings groups. All right, thank you. All right, have a good one. Yep, thank you. Picture.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Great
All
job.
right, we'll call Dairy Queen and let them clear the way.
Right.
All right, we'll let them clear out. While they're leaving the room, if you would like to make public comment, the sign up sheet's here. I see quite a few people signed up already. If you want to, I'm gonna pass this down. If there's anybody that didn't sign up, now's your chance.
Thank you so much.
There's another sheet here, if you want to sign it.
Oh, yeah, let's start Yeah, we got it here. Here you go. Yep. Come this way. Yeah, they all did.
All right. So the clerk will read the rules for public comment, and then we'll begin. And like I said, I see they're kind of actually grouped together anyways. So, Madam Clerk.
The opportunity to speak to the board is provided for members of the public who have a comment to make about the business of the board. The board appreciates hearing from stakeholders and values their thoughts and questions. The board strives to make the best decisions for the village, and public input is very helpful. The board must protect the stability and decorum of this meeting. Please be respectful for the duties of the board and the democratic process in your comments tonight. Please state your name and address your comments to the board. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please be factual and courteous, and the board requests that you not make statements that are personally disrespectful or condescending to members of the board or staff. To the extent multiple speakers are addressing a single issue, the mayor reserves the right to limit the number of speakers making public comment of a repetitive nature and or limit the amount of time for public comment. The board does not respond to comments or attempt to answer questions during the public comment period.
All right.
Adam Koch.
Is it okay if Larry comes up?
Sure.
He's on.
All right, that's fine.
Adam Bosch, 1180 Main Street. Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. I think all of you know me, but for those who do not, my name is Adam Bosch. My family owns Antioch Fine Wine. We have served this community since 1966 and are the longest tenured retail business in Antioch on the same ownership. As my 86-year-old father, he would show up 3 days a week. We have tried to stop him without success. I hope that my reason for being here today yields a more positive outcome. I'm here to discuss the Antioch ban on Delta 9 adult beverages, practical effect, and impact. Believe me, I would rather be anywhere else than here advocating on this topic. However, this issue is too important to our business and its future vis-a-vis our competition for me to ignore it. I've really struggled with how to present this issue to you. And I guess I will start with what I believe to be the practical effects of the ban. Antioch currently bans the sale of these products by any liquor or tobacco licensed entity. The problem is that products are otherwise available throughout Illinois and Wisconsin. So from a practical perspective, anyone in Antioch who wants them can simply travel outside the village, purchase them or order them for delivery to their home. Among the larger adult beverage stores in Illinois, Finney's and Gurnee has a huge section of Delta 9 products and will deliver them to you here. Gold Eagle in Libertyville carries a large variety and will also deliver. And closer to home, several stores in Lake Villa carry these products, and even the Citgo gas station right across the border has several to choose from, and we can walk there. Why is this a problem? Is this a problem for business within the village? Well, not only do local residents shop elsewhere, but outsiders don't travel here to shop. So the practical effect of the Antioch ban is not that residents no longer buy or consume the beverages. It's just that they buy them elsewhere. We all know that if someone wants these items, they will get them. It's not illegal, nor is there any ban covering these purchases or their individual possession within the village. Certainly, Antioch is not the only municipal government to have some type of THC ban in Illinois. However, my research, and I believe Tim Peterman, the village business liaison, did a similar study, reveals that maybe 10 to 15 total entities have implemented some type of ban, with a couple others discussing it but not taking action. This is out of roughly 1,300 cities, towns, and villages, and almost 9,000 units of local government in Illinois, so around 1%. The total population of those enacting entities is roughly 450 to 500,000 out of 12.7 million Illinois residents, or approximately 3 to 4%. The products became legal in 2018. The first ban, six communities, were initiated in 2023, with, I believe, 3 following in 2020. So this practice is neither widespread nor growing with any urgency. In addition, none of these restricted communities is closer than 20 miles from Antioch, where residents have a plethora of purchasing options. I have some anecdotal evidence of the bans affecting us as well. I see him running out of time. Can I use Larry's time?
Yep.
When the Delta 9 ban was passed, and we only carried Delta 9 drinks, we had never carried Delta 8 or Kratom at any time. We placed signs specifying the village's ban, and then we would only have the product until current inventory sold out. I've personally heard several customers state that they would be heading to Vinnie's to buy them and get new releases. This is a disaster for our business and our viability, as we cannot afford to lose customers in these already trying economic times. If a customer is heading to another store to buy Delta 9 drinks, then they will also shop there for beer, wine, and liquor rather than make another stop. Adding to the importance of this topic is the rapid growth of THC drinks. According to Grandview Research, the global market was $1 billion in 2023 and growing at a 17% growth. According to Fact.MR, another research group, sales were $400 million in 2022 and expected to rise to $8.8 billion by 2030. In addition, the largest adult beverage retailers in the country are carrying them, including Total Wine and More, which is in Wisconsin, and the largest beer companies are producing them, including Pabst and Anheuser-Busch. Okay, so that is what I believe to be the practical effect of the current ban. Now I hope the board works to craft a solution which balances the interest of the village in keeping these products out of the hands of children, which I completely agree with, and our business community remaining competitive and viable. Some options include the following. 1, the sale of all THC products be restricted to individuals at least 21 years of age. According to a Tribune article, this is a less restrictive approach being adopted by Batavia. And also maybe there be some labeling requirements for products, including if they not be consumed by minors, if they contain THC, and the serving size and amount of THC per serving each package. As I look at the ordinance, I note the following. It only limits sales by those with tobacco or liquor licenses. It does not restrict any other entity. So a balloon store could conceivably open and sell THC drinks alongside their balloon. You do not need a liquor license to purchase the drinks at wholesale in Illinois. The store could even call itself Balloon and THC Imported. Would it not make more sense to limit sales to those already licensed by you and trained to sell to adults only, so that only an entity with a liquor license would be eligible to sell Delta 9 drinks? As for our business, our staff is instructed to require anyone under 21 be accompanied by a parent or guardian. We have no interest in selling minors even the limited products we carry that they are eligible to purchase, such as candy or assorted chips. As for labeling, I have brought a few drink examples for you. I don't know if you want me to show you.
We could leave, yeah, leave it by. No consuming them during the meeting.
No. The reason for this is that all of these brands are national, and several states have instituted labeling and age requirements, including California, Colorado, Oregon, Maine, Massachusetts, Montana, and New York. So these brands comply with those states' requirements on all they produce, whether they're sold in those states or elsewhere. In addition, for the same reason, these brands are inspected and licensed. For example, THC Social, which I have in here, maybe the largest brand, and Maplewood, which is a beer company, are tested by Badger Labs, which is the Wisconsin licensed testing facility. And several others are tested by SC Labs, which is licensed by the state of Illinois. All of them that I looked at use third-party independent licensed testing facilities. In sum, I hope that you carefully consider my remarks, and we can work together toward a solution that keeps us viable to continue into future generations. I say this that I recently became a grandparent for the first time, and if my 6-day-old grandson elicited some sympathy on your part and a greater willingness to find a proper balance here, then I am happy to accept that, as I feel that this issue is that important, and maybe the most important topic on which I've ever addressed the vote. I said a lot, and I had to say it quickly. I have a copy of it, what I said. Sure. You want it, please pass it out. I also printed out a list of, this is just one page of Benny's and Gurney, of a list of all the THC products they carry. It's all on here, and like I said, all these are available for delivery. They'll deliver here. I only have one copy of that because it's like 8 pages out of 7, and you copy all of them. And I also printed a copy of that's SD Laboratories, Illinois Department of Agriculture. And then as for the drinks, I brought 5 different kinds. They all have, you can read what they all have. They have links to their testing results as well, which I didn't even know until I started looking into these, even on all these. But it says they're for 21 and older, not to be around children. They all of these have that type of warning. Do you want me to leave this?
Yeah.
Leave it?
No.
Thank you for the time to talk to you. I don't worry.
I'll make this very quick because I know Adam used most of my time. My name is Larry Ellis. I was raised in Antioch and lived here for 30 years. I now live over the border. But I have worked in Antioch for 50 years. And in considering the same thing, as I was doing research, the one thing that came to my mind is I looked at your departments, and we have a community development director and a business liaison specialist. And both of those are meant to bring people downtown and bring them to Antioch. And what I feel this ordinance is doing just the opposite, and it's chasing people away from our business and to go out of town to do more. So I hope you consider that with all the other counties that have. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ainsley Wondering.
My name is Ainsley Wonderling. I live at 41413 Soraya Drive, Antioch. Okay. Although not on tonight's agenda, I'd like to make a statement and to inquire as to when the meeting will be held to determine further movement on the Antioch Veterans Memorial. The William E. Brook Wetlands was created as a green space conservation area in the heart of downtown. Trees and native grasses were planted to replicate the natural terrain. These plantings will be destroyed. The Wetlands Park was also built by the village to honor an individual who was a veteran, and yes, he was my father. There is irony in placing the Veterans Memorial on the Wetlands Park property. The specifically created conservation area will not be conserved, and it will affect the view of what is left of this natural area. This memorial was not designed for this location and was in fact designed to be part of the much larger Sequoia Creek Park. This structure is larger in diameter than the gazebo. It is 50 feet wide with a 9-foot setback from Depot Street. It has also been confirmed that when this board was asked to vote on this location and structure, you had not yet seen the blueprints and did not realize the size. If Manhart Consulting did an environmental study on the wetland site, which included digging boreholes, a report would have been generated. I would like to see a copy of this report stating that the creation of a large paved structure on this site after the removal of trees and anchoring shrubbery will in no way adversely affect the Sequoia Creek wetlands. We do know that aesthetically it will affect the area adversely. I would also like to know why Manhart Consulting evaluation of the terrain does not necessitate clearance by the Army Corps of Engineers. I've reviewed the 2023 and 2024 village board meetings minutes, it was not fun, and have found that on March 8th, 2023, the board agreed to look for a potential site. At this meeting, the soil borings were ordered, location was not mentioned. The monument was referred to next on June 14th, when the mayor updated the board on the resolution being prepared for use of the land, which land was also not defined in the minutes. On July 12th, 2023, renderings were being created by the committee. In July, the minutes stated that the Veterans Committee was working on a scale drawing of the memorial. This drawing was not mentioned in later minutes, but there were 2 later statements about the memorial stating that a presentation by the Veterans Committee would be forthcoming. I could find no mention of this presentation to the board by the Veterans Committee. Did this occur? If so, it is not in the minutes. Your previous decisions were made without complete knowledge of the monument, its size, or its effect on the location. Please provide the environmental studies, set a date for the meeting to discuss the memorial and its placement, and reconsider the destruction of the downtown conservation area where there are several much more appropriate locations. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Can you time that?
Charles Esdale.
I'm gonna give Mark Shaw my spot to go ahead of me.
Mark Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Village Board of Trustees, Madam Clerk, Council. My name is Mark Shaw, I'm an attorney in Lake County, Illinois, and I represent the Esdales, the Santoses, and the Becks as objectors to the CarMax proposal that's going to be discussed tonight and potentially approved or disapproved. I appeared in December before the Plan Commission and Zoning Board and presented some of our objections at the time. The Plan Commission Zoning Board went ahead and approved the project and recommended it for approval by this board. At the time I submitted written objections, I supplemented those objections. In February, I sent those to the clerk of the village who advised me that she would forward them on to all the board members. So hopefully you've got them in your packets and had a chance to review them. Instead of going through that lengthy memo of objections that I presented, I'd just like to summarize essentially what my client's positions are. And my clients do not oppose this project outright. They never have said that they oppose the project. What they're concerned about is 2 major issues that affect their property. One of those is the screening that's been proposed by CarMax, and the other is the lighting effects to the neighborhood out there. We addressed in pretty great detail in my written objections what our concerns are and possible proposals to alleviate some of those concerns. My clients start out by taking the position that they're not really convinced that this project fits within the M1 zoning description and definition of your village code. Now, I understand that there's a resolution or to approve an ordinance tonight to update the village map, and that may have some effect on my arguments. At the time I submitted those objections, it was based on my then understanding of the code. We don't think this project fits in M1 as it's defined. Even if it did fit within M1, we don't think that the screening and lighting that is being proposed fits within what's required for that type of a project. I lay out in great detail in those objections why I think that is. And what we're hoping is that instead of approving this project tonight, that you will take those objections into consideration, especially with lighting and with respect to the screening from the project, and tweak the project to take into consideration some of those things to offset those problems. And with that, you will have some happy customers in your village. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Esdale, would you like to speak?
Not at this time.
Brian, I'm sorry, Filiatro?
Filiatro.
Good evening. I echo what Marcus said. I think that when you look at what CarMax is doing, listen, I'm pro development. I'm all for businesses moving into the area, but I'm also concerned about the people that live on that street, that some kind of reasonable compromise can be made between businesses and the community, and I think that, something should have been done long before we've gotten here. Board members should probably have spoken with, the folks that live there, same with CarMax, so that it doesn't turn into, where attorneys have to get hired. Compromise could have probably found middle ground here, which could have easily made this project probably move forward without so much controversy. So, I would recommend, you know, in Wisconsin, we do CUPs. I think here it's an SUP. I think this isn't really a car dealership. This is more of a wholesale facility. And I don't think it fits into that box. I'm not sure exactly how your ordinance makes that work, but I think with some kind of a compromise, I think you could satisfy the people that live there, and compromise will get CarMax what they want.
Thank you.
So, on to Dewey?
Can I reserve until after some of the other discussions are had
Is this,
related to CarMax and voting changes?
sure, I think there's, one more person signed up for CarMax.
Harold, I'm sorry, Sanford? Is that correct?
That's correct. Harold Sanford, I'm just, concerned that we're not gonna see any revenue, tax revenue from this facility coming in. And I think, that it probably should go back to the, zoning board if we're gonna make some changes. And, I feel that we should definitely, as Antioch, should think about how this business will generate revenue to the town. If it's not gonna generate any revenue, and it's not passing ordinances, and you guys are gonna make special changes, bring something in, it doesn't make any sense. Those are my thoughts, and I'll probably wanna speak later as well. But those are my thoughts. We should definitely consider a revenue stream taxes that we won't see on this place. Thank you.
Hi, Bill Bonagudi. I don't really have a whole lot to add, support the comments that were made by Mr. Shaw on behalf of his clients. I also appeared before the board, the last time the CarMax was on the agenda, so my comments and concerns that I expressed then, I still have today. Just curious to see what the discussion is. Thank you.
Brian Bizek?
My name is Brian Bizek. I want to thank the women and men of this board, just allowing me to speak, petition for Ellie's Deli to have a liquor license in gaming. Me and my wife have owned Mexican Paradise for 21 years next month. We started in the Ellie's Deli building over 21 years ago. And I think we are very vital to the downtown area. And I really appreciate if you could take consideration for us to actually have a liquor license at that location. So the last time I did, the board voted against it, but within this time, I actually purchased the building. So I actually paid taxes on that building. So I want to thank you for your time and just consider us to have a liquor license. Thank you very much. You.
Evan Mathewson?
Evening. My name is Kevin Mathewson, and as some of you may not know, I initiated a series of FOIA requests late last year, early this year, and some documents were appealed by the village of Antioch, and I appealed that decision not to release those documents to the Attorney General's office. And as of tomorrow, both of those complaints are still under review. But I think it would be an unwise decision to make a choice on this CarMax thing while there's pending investigation. with regards to some of these documents that should be released to the public. And last time I was here, village's council called me a liar and said I got these documents and later learned that it was incorrect. And if you're out there and you've ever been charged with felony, raise your hand.
Well, you know, that's not part of the public comments.
I didn't see reason.
Buddy, all right, one more comment, Your Honor. All right, all right, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda is 4 items on the consent agenda. Are there any requests to remove any of those items?
I would request item number 1.
There's a request for item number 1, the March 12th meeting minutes to be removed from the consent agenda. All right, so item number 1 is removed. Any other requests? So if not, I would ask for a motion and a second to approve items 2, 3, and 4 of the.
So moved.
Oh, so hold on. I have to read them. I forgot we changed both of this. All right, number 2, approval of a resolution approving a special event liquor license to the Lodge of Antioch for the Chamber of Commerce Antioch Taste of Summer event, resolution 25-24. Item number 3, approval of a resolution authorizing the annual 4th of July parade to be held on Friday, July 4th, 2025, resolution number 2525. Number 4, approval of a resolution authorizing a special event liquor license for the Village of Antioch Summer Wine Walk, June 7th, 2025, waiving all fees, resolution number 25-26. I had a motion for trustee Bluthart. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, trustee Peterson. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
All right, the first item on the regular business will be approval of the March 12th, 2025 Village Board regular meeting minutes as presented. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil,
Second.
second trustee Peterson. Any discussion on that?
I would like to discuss.
Yeah, go ahead, trustee Peterson.
In this section of the minutes where we're discussing the Sequoia Park and the alcohol sales, if I remembered the meeting correctly, we did agree that alcohol consumption would not be permitted in the area east of the Rocky area where the splash pad is and the playgrounds. And I don't see that in the minutes, and I think it's important that if that's what the board agreed to, it should be in the minutes for future reference.
Does the board want that amendment? Added?
I remember in that way as well. So.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, all right, yeah, so we'll amend those minutes to add that portion.
Good catch.
Any other discussion on that? All right, with that amendment, I'd ask for, all right, with that amendment, I'd ask for another motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
We have 6 voting yes, motion carries. All right, the amendment. Now, it's in place. All right, now I need a motion to, that was for the amendment, now I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion trustee McNeil, second trustee Bluthart, roll call please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. On to the other regular business. Item number 5 is consideration and approval to ratify payments of the March 26th, 2025 accounts payable as prepared by staff in the amount of $557,031.10. Motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee Berman. Roll call please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
6 voting yes, motion carries. Item number 6, consideration and approval of payments of accounts payable as prepared by staff in the amount of $707,600.33. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion trustee Bluthart,
Second.
second trustee McNeil. Roll call please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
All right, next item is 7, consideration and approval of an ordinance formally adopting the zoning map effective March 1st, 2025 for the Village of Antioch. Ordinance number 25-04-10. I have a motion and a second waiving the second reading.
So moved.
Giving the second reading.
Motion trustee McNeil waiving the second reading. Scott, did I hear you say
Second.
second?
Waiving the second
Trustee
reading.
Pierce. Roll call, please.
Wait, can I discuss real quick?
Sure.
Just for the record, just for the attorney, are we required to vote on the zoning map every year?
We are, when this changes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
And for the record, I believe the two changes I recognized was the waste management facility. And what was the second one? Oh, the strips of land in the marketplace. Those are the two changes. All right, roll call, please.
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce.
Yes.
Mason. Yes. Peterson.
Yes.
All right, 6 voting yes, the motion carries. All right, so now we're on to 3 items that are related to the CarMax, which have the room is here for. Typically, when we get to the regular business of board meetings, we've discussed these matters at the committee of the whole once or twice, and we come to this point to vote. There are 3 items, and I'm going to take them in order of the on the agenda. But the third item is an item. Oh yeah,
Sorry.
you're fine. Trustee Peterson's recusing yourself. The third item is an item that has literally been an item that we've been working through and was not fully discussed at the committee of the whole meeting. So I will entertain some discussion on these items tonight. I would like to go back probably now and in the future, the old way of doing this, where we literally go down the trustees one by one and do that twice, so each person can, say their piece. Can we, to get these to the floor, council, can I, once I have number 8, motion second, can I have the discussion on these for globally all 3 items if there's any requests?
I think that's fine.
Okay, just so we're not going through each one.
And there's no objection, I would ask.
Any objection to the board to talk about these globally? Okay. So we'll start after item number 8, which is consideration and approval of a resolution granting a final plat of subdivision for real property located at the Antioch Corporate Park, 2101 East Route 173 in the Village of Antioch, Illinois. CarMax Auto Superstores, Inc. Resolution number 25-27. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion trustee Bluthart,
Second.
second trustee McNeil. Okay. I said, I'm gonna open this to discussion one time for globally on all 3 matters. The resolution, the last one we did, the community benefit agreement, you wanted to speak to what that entails, so you're talking with the fully informed.
Community benefit agreement is an agreement that we, thank you, Mr. Chair, excuse me, Madam Clerk. The community benefit agreement is an agreement whereby CarMax or its affiliated entities will pay a sum to the village. We have been negotiating different terms of that and have come to an agreement that has not been memorialized or honestly approved because it's coming before the board tonight. And that would be a payment of $25,000 per annum, that's annually, to the village until the expiration of the 20th year of anniversary, the 20th anniversary of their operations at the site, or them building out the front building parcel. And the reasoning being that will clear up, that will add to the tax base of the property. So it's $25,000 a year for 20 years, or until they build out the front parcel. That has not been memorialized. I apologize to the board, but we were discussing that right beforehand. You do have all the other terms in the community benefit agreement, which is under item, 7, 10, resolution 2529.
All right, so with that being said, we only have item number 8 on the floor right now, but we're going to be discussing 8, 9, and 10. I would start with trustee Berman. Do you have any questions or comments?
Not at this point.
Trustee Bluthart.
I'm not sure who I guess I'll ask it in general, whichever staff wants to address it. The notes from the planning and zoning reference some changes to the landscape plan and the lighting plan. Were those changes agreed to and made, or what is the current status of those changes that you recommended?
Howard Clark here, Community Development Director. So it's part of the site plan review criteria, the conditions. Typically, when the conditions are added to a site plan, they're usually captured during the building permit process prior to a CEO. So if lighting, landscaping needs to be changed, that's the time that it gets done. In the perfect world, it should have been worked out during the application process, but not always that happens. Sometimes the board will say, hey, we want to do something a little bit different. We'll tie it up with the staff following up with the building permit process.
So for, what's it? So, Mr. Chair, if I may, just very briefly, if you look at page 87, Mr. Trustee, on your packet page, so 87 out of 256, page 3. 87. Yeah, here, I can show you mine. Right there. Right in the bottom. In the bottom, yeah. Page 3 of the submission. If you read it, there is increases to the scope of the landscape plan. That staff would be looking for the following modifications: the addition of additional evergreens and shade trees along the southern perimeter of the site and along the southern berm adjacent to the parking lot area. And I believe CarMax is okay with that. I'll just put in the record that he signified an affirmative answer with a nodding of the head yes. And then the photometric plan that, pursuant to staff's request, the illumination levels of the customer and employee parking areas have been reduced by 20%. So the lighting was reduced, that was agreed to, and those were conditions that were put on during the site review process. Also drawing your attention, ladies and gentlemen of the board, to page bottom 89, which is page 5 of the submission, but 89 in your packets of 256. Those were the additional compliance provisions that were recommended by the Planning and Zoning Board and that CarMax agreed to. I'll let you read them. I can read them if you want me to, but they are in your packet and they are requirements such as approval by the village engineer, approval by the fire protection district, additional modifications requested by staff, and incorporate an 8-foot privacy fence around the subject site in lieu of a 6-foot privacy fence. Again, it is your decision to make, of course, but the question being raised was there feedback from the site approval process that was incorporated, and this is the feedback that came back. I hope that answers your question, Trustee.
It does. No further questions. Trustee McNeil?
My only question was just that, to clarify what you just answered, the lighting has been reduced, which I read in the packet, and the screening of trees has been increased, because I think we've all heard and respected the homeowners' thoughts about this plan. And then just, I don't know if I can comment on the other ones, correct?
Yeah, we're gonna do them all.
Okay. I know some of the residents also mentioned, will there be any revenue and things like that, but that's exactly what the community benefit agreement is about, to try to bring in some revenue to the village to help the community. So that was my only comment.
All right, Trustee Pierce.
I did have one resident ask me if there would be an impact on the Dutch Gap project that's proposed by the Army Corps of Engineer. And so my concern would be, well, number one, if the government ever does get around to it in this current climate. But number two, are we ensuring that we follow the SMC rules and regulations as they build their western detention ponds and their property build out?
Trustee, if I may, Mr. Chair, yes, they will have to comply with all state, federal, and local laws during the process. They still have to go in through building permits as well, and that has to be in compliance with all laws. So that's an excellent question by the resident that you followed up with. But yes, all building will be done in compliance with all applicable law.
All right, does that answer your question, Scott?
I'm answered.
All right, Trustee Mason.
Yeah, so $25,000 for 20 years. My question to CarMax, first of all, the gentleman that was here, when he gave us an average price per car was not truthful, $10,000 per car. He gave us a total value of what the price that Antioch Police Department's gonna protect. He couldn't give us a solid figure of $10,000 per car. Everybody in the room would probably go out and buy a brand new car at $10,000 a car. So my concern is at $25,000, you can't hire an officer. We're gonna lose all our police department to go out there to protect cars from thievery. And where's the revenue? We're authentic by Antioch, authentic by nature right there. And we're gonna throw a parking lot in beautiful Antioch. We're not getting any revenue for it for the village. We're not even recouping coverage for police department. We're not even getting money for wear and tear for the roads, for the trucks. We're not even getting a commitment for IDOT. If 173 gets torn up from the trucks on there, this, that, and that. So if they start making demands, we're getting cars stolen, people from Milwaukee, Kenosha come there. Because I know stuff that maybe the public's not aware of, that people come and take cars and the dealerships get hit every now and then. So if that place starts getting hit, we gotta put more police protection. Where does it come from? My neighborhood, your neighborhood? So $25,000 ain't gonna work for me. Regardless of how beautiful it works, there's no tax dollar. There's no It looks like the most beautiful place, it just doesn't make sense, they're gonna throw a stipend and $25,000, and finish my point, 25,000 today, in 20 years, what's that gonna be? $10,000, that's a joke.
Alright, back to the, trustee Berman. Do you have any comments on this?
I 100% agree with trustee Mason. I don't think that fee is enough to, especially not being able to foresee the way things are gonna be in the extended future. I do think it's gonna put a strain on, APD and, because I think they said, wasn't it remote, it was remote viewing, someone from Virginia, is it Virginia? Yeah, see, that doesn't really sit well with me, so.
Trustee Luther. Nothing further. Trustee McNeil.
I think I just wanted to say that I understand the concerns, but if this doesn't go in, we can't. I mean, I'd love to leave it open land. I want to leave it authentic by nature, but it is zoned M1. We could end up with light industrial, like a factory type setting. So,
All right, there's no public comment at this point, guys. All right, if anyone keeps chirping up, then I'm gonna have to have you removed, so let's keep the decorum, so let the trustee finish her.
That's fine. That's all I had to say is the zoning is what it is and other things could go in there just to make the public aware. I also want it to be farmland forever and beautiful, but the reality is we've got our zoning.
All right, trustee Pierce.
No comment, Your Honor.
Okay, trustee Mason, anything else?
No. A factory is far better than each individual, you get $80 million of sitting there pick and choose what vehicle I'm gonna steal versus an indoor building. I mean, I don't know, maybe you can have a private conversation with, the cars being stolen from all the other, dealerships and what's coming into town and the reason we got SWAT cameras. But, you start throwing some nice cars in our Antioch area, then you start making a target for people to come in our town. A factory, they're not gonna come in our town, except maybe look for a job. This is no jobs. There's no jobs here I'd rather have a factory where it's gonna employ people and then bring people downtown to go Mexican Paradise or Anastasia's or Jerry's place. This makes zero sense. There's zero employment. for our towns. We'd rather have a factory.
All right. So I think it's time to call a vote on this matter. I think, we talked about this in the cow, about what the lighting would look like, about the amount of jobs, just for clarification. I believe they said there's gonna be 200 jobs at this, facility. Who's talking? What? No, this is not public comment, and whoever's talking in the gallery is gonna be asked to leave. So this is a final warning, and next thing I'm gonna ask the police chief or somebody to escort out of here. This is, there's a procedure to this, okay? And I wanna say that, like I said, there are some parameters in this, and I want to make sure that what is in the record and what is in our packet is truthful, what the board's gonna vote on. So, there is, a series of things that went through planning and zoning. I don't recall the vote offhand. I know there's some certain parameters which thresholds as a board that we would have to meet to overturn what planning and zoning did. What's it now? No, okay, so that's not applicable in this case. And I'm not saying one way or the other who's right or wrong. I will say that there is some latitude for the village to work with resident, if it does pass, there's a latitude for the village to work with the applicant and the residents through the permitting process and the site plan as it goes forward. I just want to clarify that, again, with factories or anything of that nature, we're going to be collecting property taxes and creating jobs, and that's about our only sources of revenue from those items. Could Amazon come build a plant there? Yes. This was zoned this way in 2010, so we're not reinventing the wheel here. We were just dealing with the application that were presented. So just to be clear, that's what we're voting on. Again, I'm not saying one way or the other which way it goes, but I just want that to be in the record that this is what they're proposing. Am I missing anything, Howard, or no? Okay. So are we ready to call the vote on this?
But I have a very small time to talk.
I would say only as it relates to the community benefit, if that makes sense, because we're already had the two items of the committee of the whole. So does that make sense as far as the community benefit
Let me just
agreement?
make two other comments, and I'll comment on the committee. Take me 2 minutes. Number one, it's approved.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, who is this speaking?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I apologize.
Yeah.
I'm Bruce Goldsmith from Dykeman Law Firm. I represent Carmen. Yeah. So, it's a PUD. It's been approved use for the last 20 years. And we're asking for you to approve a use that's already been approved by you and subject to the PUD. Number two, it meets all your requirements for a final plan and a final plat. So we've met all the requirements, including the conditions that you described that we will accept. Number three, the average sale price of a car is $10,000. These are all used cars and sold at wholesale, so we didn't misrepresent that. And number four, we care more than you do about the cars. We have security in place, and we don't expect this to be, I can go down the street and pick up a car right on the street in downtown Antioch. This can be a secured facility with lots of security coverage. So we don't make our cars available for street.
I appreciate it. I understand.
And that's all I have.
Okay,
And
so-
then on the benefit agreement, this is in addition to what the taxes are. This is gonna generate over $220,000 in taxes to all the taxing districts. We're adding to the amount going to the village in addition to what the village and the pension fund already get. So it's 25,000 in addition to what we're already paying in taxes. And that's my only comment.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Herman,
No.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
No.
All right, 3 voting yes, 2 voting no, motion carries. Next item is, consideration and approval of a resolution approving a site plan for real property located at the Antioch Corporate Park, 2101 East Route 173 in the village of Antioch, Illinois. CarMax Auto Superstores Inc. Resolution 25-28. Do I have a motion in a second?
Don't move.
Motion trustee Bluthart.
Second.
Second trustee McNeil. Roll call, please.
No.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
No.
3 voting yes, motion carries. Last item is consideration and approval of a resolution authorizing and approving a community benefit agreement between CarMax Inc. and the Village of Antioch, resolution 25-29. Do I have a motion and a second?
So move.
Motion trustee Bluthart,
Second.
second trustee McNeil. Roll call, please.
Just clarify, speak to the amendment that was discussed.
With the amendment.
Yeah, as amended, and we will revise the document accordingly if it's approved, Madam Trustee.
Roll call.
Berman,
No.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Mason,
No.
All right, 3 voting yes, motion carries. Next is the, oh, we get, let me go get her. Okay, yeah.
No.
Pierce. That's right.
Yeah.
Administrators are back up.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Can I ask one question?
I
I just want to know if there's going to be any further discussion or votes on the CarMax project.
not tonight. Yeah, if you, yeah.
Well, you can come with us.
All right, here we go. Now it's so exciting. Talk them all mold.
So, yeah, so we're gonna start real briefly. Village Hall renovation is moving along about as good as could be expected this early. As you know, with any renovation project, you're bound to encounter some problems along the way. Nearly all of the actual demolition work has been completed. We do have trade contractors on site that are starting working on some rough and modification Really, the only significant issue that's been uncovered so far through the demolition process is underneath the wallpaper, once the wall coverings were removed, as you can see on the cover slide, there was some surface mold that was uncovered, which is isolated to one wing of the building. A number of theories are out there of why this mold may have originated, whether or not the original glue under the wallpaper wasn't allowed to dry properly back however many years ago prior to its installation, or maybe there was poor air circulation within the building at some point throughout its 20-year life, multiple uses that it's had. FQC, our construction management firm, has been fantastic on making sure they have plans for when these things arise. So they have coordinated some environmental testing on the mold to understand what we were dealing with, recommend a remediation plan. Make sure that when we do move into that building, that the mold is fully remediated. We do have a certificate to say it is all clear, ensure that we have a safe and healthy work environment for the family. So kind of what me and Jim had discussed, me and Jim and Dennis attend weekly construction meetings that you see and meet with the contractors, but every 2 weeks prior to the board meeting, we're going to take some photographs of the board, stay apprised of the progress taking place as well as the community, and see how their tax dollars are being spent to bring this fantastically upgraded facility to life. So Jim, if you would just briefly click through the slides. That's an office. Obviously, you see there's a little bit of surface mold in the office. Most of the exam rooms on the one side of the building do have some surface mold growth that did extend into the hallway. So it's not a full building area. It's limited to one hallway. Again, trying to figure out why, but our contractors don't envision that we're going to continue to have problems once it's remediated. That is what you're looking at there is kind of the outline of what will be the new boardroom. Those pipes that are in the middle will be removed as the plumbing contractors work. So we will have a much improved space without some of these posts and beams that probably limit some of the functionality of the current boardroom that we have. That will be our new public lobby. So you know what we have currently. We have barely room for 2 chairs. So we'll have a very nice public entry for our customers and stakeholders when they enter the building, representing the community appropriately. And then that's just an example of what the current office conditions look like right now. There's pipes and wires, ventilation ducts hanging all over the building, but it's moving along nicely, and so far so good. Okay. Couple other quick things. As the board is aware, LATECOM, our regional dispatch center, is moving along. I previously mentioned the concerns of how our community would manage the activation of our weather sirens, as our current dispatch facility does currently provide that service in the size and scope of Lake, servicing nearly 40 plus communities throughout Lake County. Just wasn't feasible for them to do so. We are unsure of the cost and scope, but we feel that working with the fire district and the township, we have found a very cost-effective means to make sure that our warning sirens continue to work effectively. The technology that we're looking to leverage is going to tie into the National Weather Service system. So anytime that there is the appropriate warnings that are issued within our geofenced area, the sirens will activate. Talk to some other communities that are currently using this type of technology, and they have found it to be extremely effective and reliable. So we're working with our current vendor, Braniff, who services our sirens now, to get some pricing together. But I think once we get the final numbers, we're early looking on some options that potentially cost up to $80,000. And the board is going to be very pleased with the relatively low cost of this system. Just to bring you up to speed on the Williams Park Pavilion project. So the pavilion has been ordered by the Lions Club. It's expected to be delivered within a couple of weeks. The price for the kit that the village is going to reimburse is slightly higher than what the Lions Club had estimated. They had estimated a need for our partnership to be between $55,000 and $60,000 for that. The total cost with the engineered drawings came in at just a little over $63,000. So in conversations with the mayor, we still felt that was an extremely fair price and a great value for the village to have to contribute a relatively low amount towards a several $100,000 project. So we are moving forward with the reimbursement for the Lions Club for that amount. It will come before the board for approval at the next meeting. Dennis and I and several other members of our staff did have the pre-construction meeting with the Lions Club. Dennis, is the fencing up? Yep. We did give them the fencing that we had around the Pittman property for use to secure the site there, during the construction project to keep it safe for the public. And as Director Heimbrook just mentioned, that the fencing has been erected, so they're awaiting demolition and the permits have been issued for them to. We continue to work with the cafe vendor on a couple of little setbacks, as we identified that the original proposed layout of some of the equipment that she has in the interior is going to create some circulation issues and problems with the ADA requirements. So our staff is working hand in hand with the vendor to make sure that a revised plan for the interior of that building will move forward as quickly as possible and not create any ADA issues. We keep moving forward with the budget. Mayor and I had the opportunity to sit with Michael Peterson, our finance director, today and kind of go over the first scrub of the complete village budget. There's still a number of meetings to be had internally, some adjustments to be made, but it looks like Mayor is intends to bring that budget forward in the May timeframe for approval by the board. So it'll be coming to you soon for your first review. And then lastly, I would just like to mention that Dawn Lustavich, our AP clerk, is retiring. We did have a luncheon for her today, so I would just like to take an opportunity to thank her for her many years of service to the village. Just give her a heartfelt thanks. She was originally intending to retire about a month and a half ago. Many of the transitions that we had within the finance department over the recent time, she came to me and offered to extend her retirement date to make sure that our transition was smooth. So I'm very appreciative and grateful for her stepping up and helping to make sure that we can operate efficiently. If there's any questions, that will be my report. Questions?
Yes. If you're ever gonna take me on a tour, I'm probably the only trustee that's never been in the village hall.
We have meetings every week at 9 AM on Fridays if you're available, trustee. Before or after, just let me know and we have to go out together.
Fridays?
Give me a call, pay before, and we'll set it up and make sure you get the appropriate safety gear and take and give you the tour. Yes, hazmat right now. Yes. Any other questions? Trustee Pierce, that is, any other questions for the administrator? All right. Village clerk.
A reminder that the spring cleanup day is scheduled with Bruce.
Trustee reports, any trustee reports?
Hi, Your Honor.
Yep, trustee Pierce.
I just wanted to apologize for not being there tonight. I was scheduled to be there, but one of my coworkers was hospitalized and they asked me to step in for him down in Atlanta, so I gladly did that.
No problem. I told her, no problem with people being on, still, even today. All right, motion to adjourn.
So.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee McNeil, roll call please. They're all in favor. Any opposed? All right, one opposed, meeting's adjourned at 7:47. We'll take a 5 or 10 minute recess and start the committee home. Let's call the committee of the whole meeting to order at 8 o'clock. Roll call please.
Berman.
Here.
Here.
Trustee McNeil.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Present.
Here.
Trustee Peterson.
Present.
Mayor Gurke.
Present. All right, we have trustee Pierce on Zoom. No mayoral report, no additional citizens to address the board. So the first item is approval of the March 12th, 2025 meeting minutes as presented. I have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson, second trustee Bluthart. Roll call please.
Discussion.
Oh, we have discussion. Okay, discussion.
So the minutes presented, that letter that was read is not part of this minutes. And the gentleman that was the second in charge from the lives in Darien, no address on the letter. I didn't bring the letter. His name and address was not part of the letter that was read into the minutes, into the meeting.
Was that in the regular meeting or the committee of the whole meeting?
It was read during the report.
We have other comments from Mr. Nevada.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. So that's not part of this.
Was that the regular meeting or was that? Oh, it was a cow meeting. Okay.
Yeah, that's-
Oh, here I see. I see she read the comments, Mathadas, then Ainsley spoke. So those are the two that spoke. Are you saying the contents of the letter or the?
Yeah, but his name and address, because the guy lives in Darien, but his name and address was not part of that letter.
And typically they'll include residential addresses.
No, but I mean, that letter should be, I mean, if you're reading the thing, that should be part of the letter. And I made an objection, which I sent you earlier. Also, I sent the attorney, nothing against, Brett, the objection of, being conflicted. I sent, both the mayor and the attorney, the 6 reasons of being conflicted and never got a response.
Alright, okay, so let's talk about the minutes first. So are we looking for a revision to the minutes?
Yes.
themselves? Okay.
Yes, because that's not in there, and I just was asking
Can-
why.
Can we enter the letter itself with attach it to the minutes? Does that make sense? Does that satisfy that?
Yeah, I just wanted,
Okay.
yeah, with this, yeah, because that's, that was left out.
Your Honor,
Yep, trustee Pierce?
if we're entering this as testimony, it's the same as somebody standing up and speaking before us in front of the board, is it not?
Hold on.
Testimony is a charged word. I mean, when trustee Pierce, there's 3 lawyers up here. When you say testimony, that means sworn. When there's a statement that's read or said, that to 3 of us, as a lawyer, we look at that a little bit differently because it wasn't given under oath.
Okay.
I'm not trying to splice here, but I just want to make sure that's clear.
So, I mean, I'm not opposed, I'm for or against, I don't really care.
I have no objection. It's in the video and in the recording.
Just attach it to the minutes. Okay, so are we okay? Do I need to amend the motion in the second to include the written statement with the minutes from Mr. Mathadas, I believe, is that? Okay, do I need a new vote on that?
I mean, the last time we had this at the first meeting, the first part of the meeting, we made a motion to amend that motion, so if that's the will.
I'll amend my motion.
Okay, or would you just like to make a motion to adopt that amendment?
I'll make a motion to adopt the
Second.
amendment.
All right, we have a motion, trustee Peterson, second trustee Bluthart to incorporate that into the record. Roll call, please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther.
Yes.
McNeil.
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
All right, 5 voting yes, motion carries. Now, I think the motion's still on the floor to approve the minutes with that amendment, correct? Vote again, like last time?
Yes, we
Okay,
now
we
that
vote on the minutes themselves, okay?
So moved.
Motion trustee Peterson,
Second.
second trustee McNeil, roll call please.
Berman,
Yes.
Luther,
Yes.
McNeil,
Yes.
Pierce,
No.
Mason,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Okay, 5 voting yes, motion carries. Okay, so we have a discussion regarding a liquor license request from Ellie's Deli. Brian Bezak is here in person. He talked during the public comment. So I guess I would open this up for discussion of the board. Obviously, he's here to answer any questions. So I'll kind of try this again in this old school fashion of going around the horn twice. So I'll start with trustee Berman. Do you have anything? Trustee Bluthart, do you have anything?
No, I'm all in favor of it.
Trustee McNeil?
No, I'm also in favor of it and looking forward to hopefully it passing.
The best sandwiches around. And trustee
Glad.
Pierce?
No, Your Honor, no comment.
All right, trustee Mason?
No, this part of it last time, it was turned down only because I think it was they didn't want a Betty's downtown for the food. With the percentage of food, the amount of alcohol. And the concern was just a downtown, basically a downtown Betty's that it would end up to be.
Trustee Peterson, did you have any comments or questions? All right. Anything else on follow-up based on that? Otherwise, I believe we move this to the next meeting. I'm gonna screw up the date. What's the next date? 29th? April 23rd. We have no mathematicians on this board. Oh, it's April 23rd, I believe. All right, April 23rd.
Week up.
Yeah. All right, so April 23rd will be up to the, okay? Thank you. Next is discussion regarding a liquor license request from Brothers of Liberty. Mr. Darren Wilson's here in person to present this request. I'll open this up to him if he wants to present this, or would you rather have the board go around first?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, might as well come stand up here and be prepared if there's any questions. So I'll start with trustee Berman.
This is basically
the same thing as it was?
Yes, it was like the same thing, as the Teamster Horsemen, we raise money to help with cancer and women going through it. We donate to the National Cancer Society, and we also take a woman in locally that's going through the process, and we pay her bills to determine amount once we do our rides, and we have benefits and stuff, so it just depends on how much money we bring in as of how much money we can pay out.
Trustee Bluthart?
Yeah, and I'm sorry if this has been discussed before, but I'm trying to play catch up on this issue. The Horseman is no longer in existence, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The whole organization is done?
Not the whole organization, that chapter is now done. And I was a horseman. I did probably 90% of the work in there, and I'm trying to save the work that I did in there because it's a beautiful place.
So basically this license, if I'm not mistaken, is, and maybe Jimmy, you can confirm, is it's just a replacement of the license that the Horseman had for the same facility, correct?
Well, there was an issue, it's my understanding that state license never came through, so it was really never perfected. Right? So there was an application for a license, local license granted, but there's a two-part process for liquor licenses. And the second part is a state license was never granted. So, Illinois has many levels of government, and they did not go the whole way through it. It's no disrespect to them, those are the facts.
So is it fair for me to assume that if we approve this or grant the license, that you will be following up with the state?
Yes, sir.
Following through on it this time?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
All right, Trustee McNeil?
I don't have any questions for you, but thank you for the work that you do.
Trustee Pierce?
No questions, Your Honor.
Trustee Mason? Nope. Trustee Peterson?
I do have one. Does this organization now continue with the gun raffle?
Yes, ma'am.
And, okay, and all the proceeds go to your charities?
Yes.
That's all I want to know.
Are there any, yes. Okay, so if we're good with this, we'll move it to the next meeting for the vote on this matter, is that correct? Okay, so we don't have to do the math this time, it's the 23rd of April. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right, next item number 4, discussion regarding collaboration services with Hitchcock Design for Centennial Park. We have Doug Fair on Zoom, I believe. We have Parks Director Zapowski here to present.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hi, Doug. All
Good
right,
evening,
so
everyone.
Doug will be on Zoom to answer your questions as necessary. But I wanted to let you know that hopefully with your blessing, we'll be seeking approval next meeting for acceptance of the Hitchcock design proposal for Centennial Park, the final master plan, based on the final design plan they set forward before I even got here. So thank you for your patience as I'm figuring out all the words. So just a little bit of background. They were hired to complete the conceptual master plan for Centennial Park. They prepared and submitted on our behalf the OSLED grant application in 2024. Hitchcock was then asked to submit a proposal for the next phase of the Centennial Park renovation. And it was submitted in January of this year. After receiving the proposal, there were some indicators that the preference might be to go out to get additional requests for proposals from other firms. So after I came on board and being brought up to speed on that project, I reached out to some colleagues who have more experience in this than I currently do, just to kind of what's going on with this and what do we all think. And the response was overwhelmingly in favor of adopting the proposal from Hitchcock for many reasons. But one of the most important that I can see is that the proposal that they put together and the one that was included with the OSLED grant application is based on their cost opinion. So if we were to go out and receive other proposals from different firms, in the event that anyone would want to take on a project, with it being halfway sort of completed as far as the administration of this project goes, we wouldn't have any way to hold them accountable to the cost opinion that was provided by Hitchcock. Therefore, the entire project loses integrity. And that's a big what if to me. Not only that, but Hitchcock Design is the gold standard of OSLED grant, not management, but the design, the final design of the projects, the construction management, things of that nature. They are the go-to firm, not just in Illinois, but across the country, for these types of projects. So I wanted to let you know that I think it's the right choice to move forward with Hitchcock Design, and Doug is obviously here if he wants to chime in with any other comments.
No, thank you for the glowing review.
My pleasure.
Keep going.
Anyone have any questions about that?
I'll go around and see if they would,
Okay.
anyone, Trina?
We don't have a copy of the proposal in here, so I just got a quick, what is the cost of the?
The base cost is $119,000, which is 10% of the project cost, which is very common. Usually those costs are between 5 and 15%. So this is right middle of the ground. There are additional optional fees if we choose to engage them for interpretive signage, watershed, something. No, and grant administration. That's right. Yeah.
Only further, Trustee McNeil.
I don't know if I can ask you this, but is there still a pause on the funding for the grant, or is that moving forward, or do you not know that answer? I know the administrator had mentioned that in the last meeting. I just wasn't sure. I think, but no, or we're not sure yet.
That was for the federal grant we applied for.
Okay.
The OSLED grant's been awarded.
Yes, and good. Okay, and we're taking half of that up front, and then the other half as the project is completed. Okay.
And if I understand, this is for construction management, so it's like a 10% construction management fee, is that right?
It's the final design of the project based on what we submitted in the OSLED grant. So there might be some changes, but the elements that were submitted in that grant proposal will likely stay, but the actual where it's going to sit on the land, or things like that might change. But it is for the final design and then the construction management.
Okay.
Yes.
And I believe I saw this item, the line item in the proposed 2026.
You did.
Okay, all right. Trustee Pierce.
So it sounds like we've decided what we're doing there, and then we're gonna spend $119,000 already? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I thought we were still gonna have some more discussions on what was gonna happen there, but we're obviously entering the construction phase if we're committing that much money.
Oh, no, let me clarify. That much money is for the final design, which will still be up for discussion. However, most of the elements that were included in the OSLED grant, we are going to be held to because that was included in the grant application. However, there is, more discussion and decisions to be had as far as what, where the placement of the elements, or, the quality of the elements, or the, how many of the things that we'd like to have, or how long this path needs to be, or is it going to be tennis courts or pickleball courts or both courts, things of that nature, sort of the more detailed information. This $119,000 contract is for their services to provide the final design, and then to manage the construction process through, collecting bids and helping get that information together to, come to you for approval and things of that nature. Does that clarify?
That clarifies.
Hey, I can add a little bit of background to our scope of services without getting into too much detail, if you feel that would be helpful.
Please do.
Okay, so as Katie mentioned, the proposal is for final design services. So it's not just design, finalizing design, but it's also as mentioned before, construction, administration, observation. Really what the grant was submitted for last year, was a conceptual plan, a master plan, and actually phase one of the master plan that was developed. So it's a very much a conceptual plan in nature. You're not you kind of going full tilt and kind of tightening the screws with the final design until after you have been awarded funding, which we're at that point now. So now you've been awarded funding. This is essentially to take that conceptual design, refine the geometry, finalize it, and get everything ready for with construction documents ready for this to be publicly bid and to go through the various permitting processes to obtain approval, so that once you do have a contractor on board, and then enter into an agreement with them, that you're able to move into the construction phase services portion of the contract, which is essentially the last phase where we oversee and observe the construction of the finalized design on the village's behalf. So really it's just advancing where we left off from the grant. Now that you have the funding, you should be any day, the village should any day be now receiving the signed agreement from the state for the funding that's been awarded. And you essentially have 2 years to complete the project from the time that that's stated in your grant agreement. And the versions that we've seen from other applicants in the same cycle go from April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2027. So essentially backing out a day from the 2 years that you have to complete the project. And that is to have the project be obviously final design, go through permitting and bidding, and then fully constructed. So it's essentially substantially complete and open for public use within 2 years, which sounds like a long time, but in the climate that we live in the truncated construction period, it goes quickly. So we're mindful of that. We're very well versed from previous cycles and various projects such as this that have been awarded funding, and all of the parameters that go along with a state-funded project, as we kind of weave those into each phase of our scope of services.
Okay. I appreciate your input. I just want to be very clear here. To me, it sounds like $119,000 or whatever is a kind of a steep price for a construction management and planning and stuff. And I don't have a lot of relationship other than what we spent over at the Sequoia Creek Park, which was a very nice evolution, but it was also very expensive. So between now and the next meeting, I'm going to be asking some questions on comparison costs to see where we really stand here, because right now I feel this week I'm feeling very poor after the evolutions in the world. So I think I need to have a little bit more comparison of cost to see if this is really a true value, or see if construction management from somewhere else would be more cost effective, or if you guys are the most cost effective, most efficient group.
Well, and I encourage you to read our proposal, which outlines our scope of services if you haven't already, because construction management is roughly 1/3 of what we're proposing here, what goes along with finalizing the design and overseeing the construction. So that is a portion of it. It's not 119,000 is not for strictly construction management services.
I understand that.
We also
Planning,
have
designing and everything else, grant management, everything else you listed off.
We also have consultants. I also want to mention we have some consultants on board with us for civil engineering services. That's Erickson Engineering Associates, and then electrical engineering, which is a minor scope item, but that's for bringing power and reconnection to the new shelter that's being provided in phase one. So there are other consultants along with us, but we are the prime consultant overseeing everything from start to finish.
And so as you bring those other consultants on board, would that be an additional cost, or is that all wrapped up in your cost?
That's included in the proposal that we provided.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, one last thing, Trustee Pierce, is that the proposed fee of 119,000 is reimbursable by the ASLAD grant. So it would theoretically be 50% of that.
I understand that, but I can also think of a pickleball court I could build for $119,000 or a portion of it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Never mind, I was being snarky. I apologize.
Thank you.
Trustee Mason. Trustee Peterson.
I'm just looking forward to going forward with this and get that park built.
Anything on, I'll go down again. 1, 2, 3, Trustee Pierce, anything else?
No, I've done enough.
All right, we're good. We're gonna, move this on the next meeting for the approval or disapproval. With that. For the vote on this. All right, thank you. Don't leave. We have item number 5, discussion regarding the, renaming or naming of the senior center, located at 817 Holbeck. Since it is called the senior center, there's probably still some confusion with that name, so.
They're still getting wheelchairs
Okay.
donated
Yeah.
outside the door, yeah. So, with the township moving out, I think that was in 2024, right? The facility use agreement is also being terminated at the request of the township, because all of their services are now in their new facility. This presents a great opportunity to rename the building, because yes, there's been lots of confusion with people showing up for cards or, things, and we're like, oh yeah, I go down the road. So, the staff have had discussions. The proposed name would be the Dolly Spearing Community Center. Certainly it's up for discussion. Dolly Spearing was the woman who left, I think it was $1.6 million for the renovation and construction of that, addition of that center. So I'm just throwing that out there as a suggestion. So we'd like to rename it.
Discussion? I guess my only suggestion would be, that I'm totally fine with that. I would say that name, or maybe there's 2 other former mayors that, I would consider for that, if that's what we think is appropriate for the board, or Dolly Spearing Center, we do something else for those divisions. But just want to put that on the radar. Any other discussion on this? Trustee Pierce, do you have any discussion?
I just kind of like to think about it.
Okay,
You know,
yeah. Sometimes I like to do this like junior high and have everyone put a name in a hat.
We're gonna take a,
Yeah. And then we called the Michael Mara Center, but I never know. They never know.
maybe the Katie Cal last.
Yeah, all right. Well, all right, let's put this on our radar, okay?
Yeah, I'm
all
open to suggestions, please. I'm just.
Okay, yeah, but I think, there's probably, that's, I guess someone could send out the history of how Dolly Springs and involved into the board members that haven't been
Yeah,
around. as
I
much.
recently received some, old, newspaper articles that I can, scan in and get to everybody.
Ainsley's gonna be your resource.
I'm sure Ainsley's got it all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yep.
Be your resource.
Alright.
The only thing with Dolly Spearing is people might still consider that senior building. With that name.
Yeah, I don't know, admittedly, enough of the history to have an educated say in that. But I do know that it would benefit everyone to rename it.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you for bringing that to us. Probably short and sweet is, discussion number 6, discussion regarding the intergovernmental agreement between the Village of Antioch and Lake County Metropolitan Enforcement Group, otherwise known as MEG.
Yes, this is just a housekeeping matter. We have been a member of MEG since circa 2015. Our agent assigned currently, Colin Shaw, is currently the deputy director. But this is just a matter of housekeeping. We do currently have an IGA with MEG and ISP, and the state is just requiring a refresh of that IGA with substantial changes.
I will move that to the next meeting for approval. Any other business before we get to department reports? All right, let's start with community development reports. Howard, it's your board.
Ben Howard Clark, Community Development Director. So I'm gonna keep my report short for this period. I've been working on several larger.
Excuse me, could you speak right into the microphone so we can hear you? Thank you. Okay.
I'm gonna try and keep this short for tonight. I've been working on several large projects on behalf of the municipality. The first one is the ICC building codes, the update to the 2024 code. So the municipality has reached out to HR Green to do the review process of the building codes. That pertains to fire sprinkler. If that's taken out, how do the other sections of the code treat that differently? So that's why HR Green is also looking at other things that we should maybe amend as part of the building code instead of just adopting it as is. The second project that I've been working with, and I've already presented it to the administration last week, is the business license application. So I proposed revising the existing general license ordinance from 1976 and renaming it the business license or business license ordinance. And I added several sections to it. I've also created a permit application to accompany the ordinance, and also like a 15-page handout that talks about the process in applying for a business, where to get your business name, like earlier tonight, you're applying for a liquor license, you go through the local municipality, then you also have to apply at the state level. So I provide that key information, the addresses, telephone number, hours of operation, how to get your IN number or tax ID number for retailers and stuff like that, the process and how do you apply for it. And then as part of the application, the sign off by different people. So it would be community development, it would be building, plumbing, fire. Fire has taken an interest in this application process. So in my application process, I've also included, fire alarm, fire sprinkler, if there are any, and how you call it, fire, the extinguishers. So they're going to be reviewing it too. The Antioch Fire District is doing this already, but this is now, tying in with the application. So the business license, I presented that to the administration. They're going to look at it. Eventually, I'm going to pass it over to legal for legal review for the ordinance. But I like to do this in unison, right? Adopting the building codes, hopefully by late June, early July, and also the business license, so we can get that up and running. I know there's going to be some permutations to this. There's going to be some hiccups along the way, but my first step is to start, reaching out to the businesses and, registering their business with the municipality. Have a contact number in case of an emergency. Who do we contact? Who is the scavenger pickup for that business if there's something that goes wrong? The fire stuff that I just spoke in details. And also part of the business license application is also presenting with a floor plan, or business model. What is it that you're doing? So then I can also review it for planning and zoning. If the use is permitted, if it's permitted by special use or if not allowed, whether we do a text amendment for a particular use in the zone, what have you, but also the parking. If it's an existing building, it's not going to be an issue, but if you have two popular uses side by side, then you're going to have that parking dilemma. So that's part of the business license. And then the third one is I'm also working on the facade grant program. I've noticed that there were some hiccups between the adoption that Michael Garrigan did last year on the resolution to adopt an amendment. I'm interested in revising the amended facade grant program. And one of the things I'm proposing is to limit the amount because it's now at 100,000. My idea is this: we have a budget for 150,000 per year. If a person comes in and they apply for a grant program, they eat up 100,000, then we have very little money for another project. So my idea is to break it up into intervals of 25 or 50,000. So it depends. Out of 150, you might have like 5 applicants, you might have 3 if it's 50,000 apart, but it gives more opportunities for different businesses to apply within the same year. Another hiccup that I uncovered is the 2006, it's called the Facade Business Improvement District. It has a name, different name. Also said, the process. Process is you would go through a series of committees that no longer exist to get to the village board. Michael Garrigan in his resolution said, no, you should go to historic preservation first for feedback and then present the case to the village board as part of the facade grant program. So that's the kind of tweaking and changes that I'm making. I'm also expanding on the list of things that should be approved as part of the process. New windows, doors, facade treatment, roofing. But I'm also looking at ADA, adaptability or things that could be improved upon as part of the business. Also, if the business has an existing parking lot, landscaping, stuff like that to beautify the downtown area, or to start looking at hardscape and softscape, which wasn't part of the original. So those are three large plans that I'm working on. So I already provided administration with the business license, ICC I'm still working with HR Green, but eventually once they provide me their information, I'm gonna be presenting to the board. And I'm also gonna be reaching out to the community, builders and developers, to get feedback from them. So we don't have a night where we have a village board meeting and they're all lining up here saying, why was I informed about this? So my strategy is to reach out to them, and then when that's done, to come to the board. So it's building codes, business license, and the third one is the facade grant program, which I'm still working on. I'm still, doing some tweaks. And most likely we'll also have to update the guideline to reflect the new ordinance. But I think those are positive ideas in trying to encourage businesses here in Antioch, especially in our downtown area where we need more development or, beautifying the existing building stock that we have and trying to make it better.
I got a question. So a business license, what are you gonna do with that? When you're asking someone for their tax ID, you got a sole proprietorship. I think you're getting debating people. Some people, sole proprietorship will use your social security number. You're gonna ask them for their social security number?
Yes, I will have to
That's
ask.
insane.
It's not insane because that's a
There's no
requirement.
way I'd give you my social security number.
This is a requirement as part of the federal government.
There's absolutely no way I'd give you my.
We could maybe, hypo it, how would I call it?
Secondly, how is the village gonna keep that information secure?
What?
How are you gonna ensure that information is gonna be secure and not be breached? If you had a social security number of a business member, how are you gonna ensure?
Well, it's,
Because I've seen the paperwork that's laying in these halls, there's no way you can ensure someone that that's not gonna be breached.
Right.
That's a whole set of different issues. We tried that, the village tried that under Maryland Shine Food, and there was a whole campaign of mailing tea bags. Because she tried to put a taxation, and there was 1,000 tea bags mailed, taxation without representation. Because the money just went to the general fund, nothing back to the business. And it made building businesses harder with more regulation. And we're getting the deregulation under the current president. And you're asking, oh, we want this before you can even come into Antioch and build a business, but we want more. The fire department right now, I'm gonna give you an example. You've got the gas station where they're getting hit with different taxes for property taxes. They're getting hit with the fire department inspection taxes, and that could be $2,000 just with the gas station. And if he lived here, then he could be paying $2,000 for that. He could be paying $12,000 for his property taxes. It gets expensive to have a business in Antioch. And that's why the campaign to send tea bags started to get insane. And the fire department, they just want to walk in your place, and I get
That's
the
fire
fire
safety.
department.
How are you gonna counter a fire safety?
I understand I was on the fire department. I get what they're doing.
Right.
But the cost of what they're doing is part of your tax base. It's part of your tax base. It's always been part of your tax base in fire inspections. And when they start inducing an extra cost on top of that, that's where it becomes an issue.
So can I have an opportunity to answer some of your questions? So the first one is, where's the files gonna be kept? Most instances is gonna be kept with the village clerk in their secure cabinet filing system. Because the business license is always kept under village clerk, just like ordinances and stuff like that. Your second question about social security, most of our social security has already been exposed. It doesn't matter if it's your credit card company, if it's your phone company, that's already been exposed and stolen. So, for you to say, well, I don't feel secure given a social security if you don't have that other number.
That's a liability that includes an Antioch.
And recognizing there's probably a lot of things that we still have to work through on this trustee,
entertaining the opportunity to sit down with you and talk through some of those concerns offline. I don't think we'll resolve all the issues tonight, but just set up a meeting and Howard and I would be happy to work through those with you.
And one final thing. Would you like to know how many businesses we have here? Would you like to have a contact information if something happens to the business? Would you like to know who's the scavenger pickup service for the business when it comes for code enforcement? This is valuable information. All communities in the surrounding area has that.
Typically has that information. And we have, I'll give you for instance, we would most time would have that if the chamber was cooperative and recognized service industries. We have a chamber that doesn't recognize service industries.
But you have to pay to the chamber. This is, you have to pay to the municipality.
I hear what you're saying. We have a chamber right now that does not recognize the service industry. She only will sit there and recognize retail. So we can go through this and I'll educate you on the problems of Antioch, but you don't want to incur, right now, you don't want to incur extra costs on a business owner. We want to get business and say, this is what you gotta do, we're gonna get like this.
So, Mr. Trustee, so if down the road, there's a business that opens up, it doesn't go through the process, you're gonna come to me as code enforcement, why is this business operating? I'm gonna turn around and say, well, we don't have a business license application, I don't know. What do you want me to give you that kind of an answer? Instead of having a process where I review it, either I approve it or disapprove it, or come to you as a text amendment or a special use. I look at this as safeguarding the municipality in the long run.
So how many home businesses are you gonna,
Yes, home businesses will be included. In all of the municipalities I worked here in Illinois, Park Ridge, Blue Island, North Chicago has business license application, and I was the person reviewing that. And there were some home businesses I had to tell, not allowed, like our rent, short-term rental, it's not allowed here. That's part of the process. I'm not making this up.
I hear what you're saying. I'm not agreeing with what you're saying.
Well, I think, they said, we'll get the draft, business ordinance and we will move on to, I believe, finance. I believe we could probably take the line item for tea bags out of the new budget.
So budget, thanks for the lead in. I appreciate each of the trustees taking the time to come and meet with me over the budget process and review the tentative capital items that we have at that time. We're getting close. We have a few more meetings with the directors, and then the tentative budget will be presented to the board. I'm going to be working on the amended appropriation and present in May, so just give you a heads up on that. The audit, preliminary field work is scheduled to begin June the 12th, and final field work the week of August the 13th. The final annual comprehensive financial report is expected to be completed on time by the October 31 deadline. The BSNA software, the demonstrations have started, and that they tentatively will have the go live by October 31, well before the December 31 date shooting. And lastly, it was mentioned, Dawn Muscovich is retiring on Friday. We had a nice lunch for her today. She briefly thought about crying, but then she realized she's retiring on Friday, so no tears. She's all smiles. It's been a pleasure working with Dawn. She's always come to work upbeat and cheerful. Really appreciate that. Also greatly appreciate her efforts to onboard John Kickert, and we wish Dawn all the best.
Okay, thank you. Katie again.
Couple of things in the Parks Department. Our enrollment for summer programs and events and things like that is open online. And we are opting for the summer season only to have an online guide due to the timing of me coming on board and getting all the things together. So we're sending a postcard home mid-May, and we're promoting, through our social media channels and things like that, that registration is open, but we'll send a postcard home to all addresses in 60002. to let folks know, that the postcard, or that, sorry, that the guide will be online and we'll have some printed ones available for those who need it as well.
No, that was, I think, I remember Rachel asking if we have some.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have some
Yeah,
printed
we'll
ones,
have-
because people come in sometimes.
Yeah, we'll have printed ones for those who request it or need it, absolutely. Couple of other things, we're gearing up for aquatics and camp season. It's been fun. Planning for additional enrollment in summer camps this year. We've moved locations of our camps so that we can accommodate more children in the event of severe weather when they need to be indoors. So I'm hoping that would eliminate any potential wait lists and things like that, and get more kids in our programs. And I call it Camp Walk Around. I love our Antioch camp. My kids love it. So they can be walking around town. That's what I want them to do, having a ball. So cute. Kelly Crimmins, our communications and events specialist, has moved into the Parks and Recreation Department. So she is located over at what I call the White House, because that's more fun than the Parks building. So she's over there now and working to get all of our events up and running and advertised, and people getting, participation. A couple of other things. I have met a couple of times with Supervisor Shaughnessy from Antioch Township, and we've been discussing the Tim Osmond Sports Complex, specifically that park, and the maintenance of that park, and what that looks like moving forward. So I'm kind of looking for direction from you guys, as far as, I know there's history. I don't know all of the history, but I would like to see us continue to cooperate to maintain, and operate this park that so many of our community members use. And so I'd like to pursue an agreement to share our expenses, in the maintenance and, operation of the park, but I want to obviously put in all of that time and effort if it's a no-go or if there's questions from the board. So I guess I'm looking for direction and opinions from you on that. I'd like to share.
So I'll do a look at committee.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll start with Katrina. Do you have any questions or comments?
Not as of now.
Trustee Luther?
Obviously, I would need to see the details of any form of agreement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also how decisions on what is being spent is made. Cause that's been a concern where dollars were being spent and then coming to the village after the fact, asking for money, and that's a no-go.
Got it.
So if I would need to see, I'm not against it in principle of assisting and co-sharing, different fees or different, charges, maintenance costs, things like that, but I would like to see the agreement on how those those fees are derived. I mean, who's approving them, and there needs to be a process to that. And so I would need to see a lot more information before I would be willing to
absolutely.
sign on.
Oh, absolutely. That would certainly be part of the details of that agreement, as far as what would be shared, what wasn't, what isn't. Obviously, I know that we're paying for a lot of the maintenance as well, as far as cleaning supplies, and, Dennis has guys out there a lot helping out. So that would be written in to be a deduction from, a split shared situation. Yeah, I agree. I would want to see that too. My comment was just trustee Willard. I don't know all the history, but I know sometimes both sides were not talking and expectations were maybe not met. And then maybe you can kind of guide us, because I don't know on, or maybe Director Heibert too, about what we should be doing versus the township, or just recommendations, because I'm not part of your daily upkeep of the park. Absolutely. I don't know. So I'd be looking for direction from you to put it back on you. Got it. Thank you.
Trustee Pierce? Please unmute.
I hate when I'm on mute. No comment.
All right, Trustee Basic.
I mean, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Are you gonna enter?
Win or lose, we get to make the
Okay.
Trustee Peters.
I think we are co-owners of the park, so I would love to have something in writing, an agreement where both sides budget for this park and we know exactly what's gonna happen and how much money this is gonna cost us every year. And I'm all for it. Let's finally get an agreement together. I like it.
Thank you.
Can I, just
Of
a
course.
tiny bug in your ear?
Please.
The path that leads from the asphalt to the gravel area that winds back towards the baseball and towards
Driveway?
like like where we drive in. Yeah, that leads up, and I think it connects to up the hill as well.
Oh, yeah, it turns to gravel, yeah.
Yes. The section right after the asphalt, the potholes are getting really, really bad, to the point where you're like,
NFC was responsible for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But I'll find out what I feel, so.
All right, thank you. So we'll continue to keep working that project.
I have one other thing I wanted to, bring up. I think, that State Bank of the Lakes has, decided not to have the Run for Freedom this year due to the construction along the route. Which my family's participated in that. I love it. It's great. It's lots of fun. But I view this as an opportunity to, change our schedule of events on the 4th of July. To maximize village resources and also give a more holistic experience for our community, where instead of having a race at 7 in the morning and then a parade right after, and then a very long break midday, and then come back for fun and festivities, I would propose a later start to the parade, where we have a kickoff at maybe like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then move directly into immediately following the parade festivities at Sequoia Creek Park, with entertainment and things like that. While the Lions Club is, intending to be wrapped up by the 4th of July, we know how construction goes. I don't want to plan on that if, we're gonna have to change and recommunicate last minute. So obviously this beautiful piece of property, sitting across the street from us, I think is an ideal spot to have the festivities and the entertainment and a viewing area for the fireworks. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts and feelings on those things.
I think that lag, I don't know how it would affect APD and some, like that.
And that's
would have to definitely be a factor.
That's one of the benefits.
It is, that lag is kind of every year in our family, we're like,
now what?
we go home for a little bit, but it's so hot out by the time we sit down and
It could literally.
we're like, yeah, and then I think that is the reason why there's not as many people that come up to, there's still a lot at Williams Park, but I think there could potentially be more if that was on. So I think that's a really good idea.
And this would, we've talked about it, I talked about it with Justice and with Public Works too. It would, assist in the strain that's put on the departments at those times, because it wouldn't have to be early morning, right? Now what do we do? And then late at night, it would kind of truncate the schedule, and give a full experience without that giant break. Thanks.
My only concern on moving the parade time is a lot of people have different things they do on the 4th of July.
Mhm.
So the parade being earlier, that gap, yes, is horrible. But I think there's a lot of people that do things in the afternoon that come back to the fireworks. And if you push the parade too far back, I don't know for a fact, but I think it would hinder attendance.
Okay.
Because I think that people want to do stuff, it's a holiday, so they're gonna go out on the boat, they're gonna have a picnic at their house, they're gonna do stuff, but they wanna go to the parade. But if all of a sudden you do that at 2 o'clock, you're kind of cutting into, you're changing everyone's plans on that day, and I get it, trying to fill that gap, but I don't know if that's the best way.
Okay.
That's for sure why the heat.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that.
That would be more noonish than it would be.
I know.
It's just hot, no matter what.
Could be 50, could be 100. That's something I might comment to, because I know it's so hot, so I don't know, I don't want to text the PD and the Public Works, but could it be like 3 or 4 o'clock, like after the heat? Because I know people with their little kids and their animals, and I can't imagine sitting out there in the heat. And then I kind of agree with Trustee Blueguard as well. I know, like, I personally have people over, we go on the boat or whatever, so we fill that time and then come back, but I'm really 50-50, but I would just prefer to let it quite at the height of the heat, maybe a little bit later, but I don't know if that cuts in too close to prepping for the fireworks, you know, I don't know logistically.
Yeah, no, those are good points. Thank you.
Trustee Pierce? Unmute.
I'm unmuting.
There you
I really, 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 really think an early morning parade as we have it now, with the heat, the weather, the families, the plans, the events, if we change it to afternoon, we are just gonna jam up so many families and so many events that all we're gonna do is aggravate people. I think people have gotten themselves into the tradition of a morning parade, an afternoon activity, then fireworks and enjoying themselves throughout the course of the day. I know it's a hard day for staff. I mean, when I first started this game, the parade, you had the run, then the parade, then you went up to Williams Park. They had contests, pie eating contests, judgment contests, kids events, balloons going off, all sorts of activities that was all run by volunteers. But as time went by, the volunteers slowly disappeared because people were tied up with their families. So then you ended up with the big gap because you had nobody to run the pie eating contest. You didn't have anybody to entertain the kids during the day. And people moved themselves into having their family picnics during that time. I mean, the pig's not here, but I always ran from the parade to the pig to get chicken and run it up to our family for the parade. I mean, for our afternoon picnic, then we'd go do fireworks. I think if you try to condense everything into the afternoon, that you're just gonna really jam people, and I would not be in favor of it at all. Especially I've been in some of those parades when it's 101 degrees and people are passing out, and we're trying to throw them ice water and people are mugging us for the popsicle sticks just because they need something cool. The earlier we do it, the better we are, especially when the parades are 2 hours, 3 hours long. It's just, you're just asking for trouble by consolidating and making it shorter. And I just would not be in support of it at all. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Trustee Mason?
Tradition.
Trustee Pierce?
I tend to agree with the morning parade. I really do, because I think people they're even used to the gap now. And they come up to the parade, they go do their thing, have picnics or go boating or do whatever they do, and then they come back for fireworks. It's just what we do.
And then, did you need any guidance? Any guidance on location, Williams Park versus the new park?
Well, I would like to have festivities at Sequoia Creek, just because we don't know if the pavilion will be completed and not able to accommodate activities and viewing in public attendance. If there's any feedback on that.
Being one of the Lions members and board members, we've had discussions and we've taken precautions to ensure that that pavilion is completed by the 4th of July. Should there be any delays at any part of the construction phase, the Lions Club is prepared to buy tents, put up tents, and do whatever is needed in order to have the event still at Williams Park.
Circus approved tents?
Whatever's needed is what I've been told.
I have a question for Jeff. Where do they blow up the fireworks?
The field back behind the new Village Hall site. Years ago, that entire area was considered the hot zone, but that's since been revised by the fire department and the state fire marshal. Really, the hot zone or the area of concern ends about the band shell.
Okay.
So Sequoia Creek Park will be a suitable location for viewing events.
So that's the only question I had. Thanks.
Would be within the fallout zone, but so is much of the downtown.
Sure.
Where, I'm sorry, Jeff, where did you say they launched the fireworks from?
The wetland area back behind the new village hall off of Skidmore.
They launch them in the wetlands?
Marshy area, whatever you wanna call it. All
Okay.
grass.
All right, and you said they've changed the fallout zone because it used to be you couldn't go anywhere down by the band shell or anything. Are we prepared if we do things at Sequoia Creek Park, which I think we should have some activities there, to possibly be closing Orchard so that we have a safe zone for people to be involved in these activities?
That was one of the discussions that we had at the staff level. Obviously, with Sequoia Creek Park being open currently, I think we're just organically gonna see several more people drawn to watch the fireworks from the downtown area just because the capacity has improved. And it'll be a prime viewing area. There's some logistical vehicle flow matters that we have to resolve. Orchard is one of the primary roadways to get vehicles out of the area. So as part of our longstanding traffic plan, Orchard was temporarily closed, but then egress. There are some concerns currently with the anticipated large crowds in the downtown area sitting at Sequoia Creek Park, but also in addition, keeping in mind that the 4th is on a Friday this year, that we'll probably see higher than normal attendance. So we are looking on the emergency management side of things at potential revisions to the traffic plan that may include a full closure of Orchard during the period of the fireworks. So it could be used as observation, but also may impact some traffic operations, but nothing we can't work.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I have nothing else.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Jeff. Police. Thank you. Keep this rather brief. So just to give the board a little update on current staffing scenarios, I'd like to keep you apprised of where our general operations are. We are currently experiencing some greater than normal staffing shortages right now. Roughly in the patrol realm, we're experiencing about a 22% decrease in manpower for the department. We do currently have 2 officers in the academy expecting a May graduation, but even once they're back, we've got about a 4 to 6 month period of field training before they'll be certified for solo patrol. Deputy Chief Johnson, as I recently announced to the board through email, is retiring at 24 years in June. So that'll create a vacancy, it'll create some linear movement within the department. I do have an officer going on a long-term restricted duty status due to some medical conditions. And then I do have 2 conditional offers out to employees, but hopefully anticipating sending them to the May Academy. But again, it will be about a year's time from the time that they're hired until they're available for solo patrol. Then we are losing one of our officers who has about 3 years experience with the department. He's accepted a position with the Lake County Sheriff's Office for a multitude of reasons. So although there are staffing challenges in play right now that we're working to address, I would ask you to have faith in me. I do have a plan in mind on how to address them. We will not experience any public safety impacts to the community as a whole. Operations will continue as normal. We will continue to respond to all emergency calls and meet public service needs as we always have. Fortunately, some of these movements within the department's rank structure that will be coming over the next few months are things that are going to be in place. The board throughout the last couple of years, my budget request, as you know, has funded for the first time staff and command opportunities for our sergeants. Sergeants, when as the motions are done, will be in a place that slide into those positions, have that relevant education, professional development training that won't have to send them for 3 months to attend that. So it's a huge advantage to us. The department is gearing up in a couple of weeks. We'll be conducting some high-risk patrol operations training. This is part of our annual training plan. It's going to be taking place outside of the community, so there probably won't be a large Facebook presence as we get sometimes with some of our training of this sorts. So it'll be taking place department-wide. You probably noticed over the last several weeks, there's a lot of information circulating on Facebook with regards to Megan Boss, who was a missing adult female from our community. There's a lot of things that I don't want to publicly disclose. Much of the attention has been drawn to the Waukegan area, so our detectives are working tirelessly along with Waukegan investigators to follow up and chase down every lead. Even though there's kind of a lull of silence from our advertising and community messaging on that. We do continue to work with a number of agencies, both local, state, and federal, to leverage resources to try to locate and bring Megan home. Jim Moran is currently working with the mother. We're working on a new media strategy to try to get her name out there, her picture out there, to try to reach a greater Chicago metro area, target area. There's some indications that she may no longer be in this immediate area based on some of her movements that we've identified. I mentioned Lakecom and the administrator report, some of the transitions that are going to be made in the sirens. They're still targeting a July-ish migration for us. The new executive director that's been hired is working through some of the timelines associated with that. Laser is probably going to be one of the early departments too. That's going to be the redundant backup site, so they'll move over it. Renovations will take place at Lake Zurich. And then we're working through a number of operational adjustments that are going to be necessary within the PD with this transition. You know, such things as minor as how key holders are notified when there's alarms at their businesses or homes, those types of things. There'd be some services that, you know, we've got accustomed to from the smaller dispatch center that, you know, the service level is a little bit higher, a little bit more of a personal touch than what we're going to have in a much larger organization. And then there were some unanticipated things that we'll need to address as a village, such as public works notifications, water main breaks, or some of our well or sanitary sewer alarms go off. But Dennis and I are collaborating closely to come up with a plan to make sure that there's things in place prior to that transition. We have submitted a grant application to the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Standards Board. With the new budget, the W County Book Order Board, it is time for us to upgrade our body worn camera system. We're looking to a little bit more advanced system, transitioning from on-site storage to cloud-based. It does come with a little bit of an increased cost, but we have submitted $100,000 plus grant request from the state. I'd like to thank Jim Moran for working with our grant writer to get that grant application produced into the state. We're told that they're relatively optimistic based on the current available funds that we will have a strong position to qualify for that grant. So that all comes through, that'll significantly reduce the cost to our community. Unless there's any questions, that will conclude my report for this evening.
One back. When's, Deputy Chief's retirement?
His last day with us is going to be June 6th, so I plan to recognize him at the second meeting in May.
So is he gonna get someone to mentor him on the FOP golf outing? Cause that's important, cause I'll help. I'll volunteer.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Cause that's fundraisers.
yes, it was a strong
job.
It's a strong fundraiser. The younger generation of FOP member doesn't have the same level of interest in golf or fundraising as my generation did. So it seems that is kind of slipping away from us.
I'll offer him something, I'll help.
Appreciate the offer.
Younger people.
Volunteers and the difficult things.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I did not receive any requests for executive session. I don't really have any requests myself, so at that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trustee Peterson.
Second.
Second, trustee Berman, roll call, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One opposed, meeting's adjourned at 9:05.